There's nothing like fresh rice noodles, especially when you can cut them into any size and shape that you like. My favorite is the flat noodle, which is a wider, elongated cut. I think you're going to be surprised at how easy this is to make with just a few pantry ingredients. Let's get started. The ingredients that you'll need are rice flour. This is commonly used in many Asian recipes and can easily be found at any Asian market. Tapioca starch. Fun fact, this comes from the root of a cassava plant. And arrowroot starch. This combined with the tapioca starch is going to give your noodles a stretchy, bouncy chew. During my testing, I found that this combination of flour and starches held up best mixing and refrigerating overnight. Arrowroot starch can easily be found at most American markets. I found this at Whole Foods. I did test several different recipes, which I will link that research at the end of this video so that I'm not dragging you guys through that. We're gonna start with rice flour, tapioca starch, arrowroot starch, and salt. Think about this as like salting pasta. Now we're going to go in with half of the water. It's going to look tacky at first, but don't worry, we'll be adding the remainder of the water. Adding water slowly helps to break down the bonds of starch. Stir to get as much of the starch dissolved as possible. This is going to be a slightly thicker batter, kind of like coconut cream. It should coat the back of a spoon. Let the batter rest while you prepare the steamer. You're going to need a couple tools to make the noodles. I'm using 9-inch cake pans. These are non-stick. I recommend getting non-stick or silicone. You can also use square pans. There is a lot of oil that goes in these noodles. I'm going to be using avocado oil. It's really to prevent them from sticking together. So don't be super alarmed by how much goes in there. You might need a little more than this. Brush the pan very generously. Make sure that you get the sides as well. You're also going to need a work surface. I'm just using a plastic cutting board. Make sure that is well oiled as well. Once the water is boiling, we can start making the rice noodles. Take a ladle. I'm not filling this all the way, I'm filling it about halfway. Pour it into your pan. Grab your strainer. I'm just gonna put a little more in. You wanna make sure there's a thin layer that covers the bottom of the entire pan. And we cover with the lid for 4 minutes. Once the timer is up, carefully remove the cake pan. I recommend having a cooling rack nearby. While this is cooling, we're going to make our next layer of noodles. Make sure you stir the batter thoroughly before ladling into your greased cake pan. Gently set the cake pan into the steamer. Use tongs to tilt the cake pan to spread the batter to the edges. Cover with the lid for 4 minutes. Here is the noodle sheet. It should slide out pretty easily. And here it is. You are going to need to brush each layer with oil. You're going to be stacking the noodles, so the oil is necessary so that they don't stick. You want to keep repeating this process until you are out of batter. These noodles are now ready to use. You can stir fry them, put them in a soup, make rice rolls, store them if you need to. It is best to use them within a couple of days. You can cut these to any size that you would like. I recommend putting a little bit of oil on your knife. I like my noodles thicker. When your noodles are generously oiled, you should get clean peels like this. Check out that stretch. I hope you guys give this noodle recipe a try. If you can't get your hands on them, definitely make them. Or if you have an afternoon where you feel like spending time to make these, definitely try it out. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye. The next part of my video is going to be on the recipes that I tested. I found some interesting results from using different flours and starches, so if you guys want to learn more, stay tuned. In case you guys aren't familiar, this is what fresh rice noodle sheets look like in the market. You might find them in whole sheets like this or pre-sliced. You can find them in the refrigerator or near the noodle aisle. I tested 3 popular online recipes, all using a rice flour base. One was with tapioca starch, one was with arrowroot and tapioca, and the other was with potato starch. The noodles made with tapioca starch was the thinnest and most delicate of all of the noodles. They were also the softest and most transparent. Overnight, they got a bit stiff, but didn't break while separating. Once cooked, I found that the tapioca got a bit chewy. I probably overcooked them given that they were so thin. They also ripped pretty easily. Next batter that was tested was the arrowroot and tapioca starch, which was what I filmed in this tutorial. Overnight, these noodles stayed soft and retained their elasticity. When cooked, these had a pleasant gumminess. They were also really stretchy. I'm actually pulling them pretty hard here, and it's taking some effort to actually rip them. The last batter that I tested was with potato starch. Potato starch can easily be found in most Asian supermarkets. You can also get this brand, which I found at Whole Foods. Because of potato starch's high thickening capability, I found that these noodles were the sturdiest. Because of the way these steamed initially, I had super high hopes for them overnight. Unfortunately, they did get pretty stiff and tore when I was separating them. After cooking, these retained their sturdiness, but like I said, they tore pretty easily. I think this one would be excellent in soups or stir-fried immediately. And that concludes my test kitchen results. You really can't go wrong with any of these. Let me know in the comments below if you've tried making fresh rice noodles, and if you have any tips and tricks on storage, as I am always trying to prolong the shelf life on these.